it just felt so good that this was happening through our feed.
Yeah, that's what really I love, because not only are we building this community of supporters, but so are our kids too.
We are going to respond back, and we want to hear about your life, what's going on, because that's what this is really about.
It's us. Like, there's a human behind the brand, right?
Are you ready to talk about Icy Gate?
OMG, this Icy. Hey, Palmr fam, I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Nick.
And welcome back to another episode of the Urgent Lows with Palmr. We're so excited to have you back here tuning in with us. And today's going to be a really fun episode. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so we had this idea a while ago, and it being the first episode of 2025, we wanted to have a little bit of fun. And we will say, first off, this is not to make anybody upset. All of this is lighthearted. We want to laugh at it. And so basically what we're doing is we have been saving screenshots of comments on social media.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad, some hilarious, people with a lot of questions.
Yes.
So what we want to do is, one, answer a bunch of questions, celebrate the positivity, and address the haters in a fun, lighthearted way.
Haters gonna hate.
Yes.
All right, so let's get started. I'm so excited about this one. So I think like the first two comments the two comments that we mainly get are, one, are your clothing T1D friendly? And then two, are we more than just an expensive t-shirt company?
Yes.
For T1D.
Definitely. So we got some good comments, and what we're going to be doing is taking these comments and putting them on the screen. So if you're watching on the YouTube version, you will be able to see them. For people who are listening on the podcast, we will try to read and describe what you're missing, basically. We are going to block out some information for privacy for people and protect people and all that type of stuff, because last thing we want is any more drama.
All right, so let's start it off. First question. As a T1D, I don't see anything about the clothing that will help me in any way. Am I missing something?
Yes, you are actually missing something. It's so funny because obviously our whole mission is around T1D, but we've known from the beginning it is a struggle because of how we want to go about doing things. So people are confused. We are constantly trying to update our message and get better and clearer, and hopefully one day people will know exactly what we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we want to be a resort wear style brand that celebrates our self-care, the challenges we all go through, and more importantly, type 1 diabetes. And so because type 1 diabetes is so close to us, a big part of what we want to do is making clothes that, one, celebrate and help raise awareness of type 1 diabetes, because there's a lot of people, which we'll get into, who do not understand it. And two, raise money for the cause. And more importantly, make products that will hopefully solve a problem for type 1 diabetics.
Yeah, and I think something that you and I have brought up before in the past is that you and I don't have type 1 diabetes. So the reason why we're in this is because we have two kids with type 1 diabetes. We have a boy and we have a girl. So we have kind of like both ends of it, of kids with type 1 diabetes. We also mentioned that in these beginning stages, we launched Palmr August of this year. Like our full launch was August of 2024. So we are still very much in the learning stages of this whole process. We really want to make sure that when we do it right, and we do it that's actually helpful for the diabetic. Because yes, we have a lot of experience with kids with type 1 diabetes, but we don't have that much experience with adults having type 1 diabetes and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So the reason why all of our products don't have pockets and slits right now is because we are in the learning stages to really figure out what garments make sense. As we grow and as we continue to go through different garments, we've been blessed to have a close relationship with Elizabeth in our community who runs Touched by Type 1. And she's been so great to kind of touch base on with like, hey, you're an adult with type 1 diabetes. Like, would this work on a dress? Like, would this pocket work for a romper? Like, just picking her brain on everything. So, right now, yes, if you're just coming on our website by just seeing an ad of ours on social media, you might be a little confused on like, all right, it looks like fun resort wear. Where actually the type 1 diabetes clothing. We do have a section for it, and it's all found under type 1 diabetes, the section on our website. But also, keep in mind, with us being in the learning stages of this whole process, we are in the process of creating custom garments with more custom pockets and slits for everyone.
And that takes time. And that's the biggest thing that people have to understand. So, for example, even our polos, it took months and months and months, probably at least 6 months of us getting the polos how we actually wanted it. Going back and forth, working with the factories, changing specs, making sure we have the right fabrics, all of that. And that's just with a standard polo. Now we start adding in stuff like diabetic pockets. There's a lot more R&D that comes into it. And so another comment I actually want to put on the screen, we had from somebody, which we'll kind of, I guess, link to,
Mhm.
is, they see our products and they're asking, well, why is there a $10 fee for our type 1 diabetic friendly products? I know you understand that having diabetes can be expensive. So it's a bit disappointing to see that a company built around diabetes won't take that into consideration. I'm forever looking for companies that make accessible clothing, and I'm just a little bit disappointed. And listen, we get it. And it was great because if I remember correctly, we messaged this woman back and we ended up having a fantastic
Mhm.
conversation with her,
Yeah.
especially when we got it and explained. And so with that, we have two types of items currently on our website when it comes to type 1 diabetes, right? First is our belt bag.
Mhm.
Our belt bag was built from scratch from the factory, produced in a large quantity. That was our first major product that we started developing from the beginning. Why? Because we had a need for it. Both of our kids have tubed insulin pumps. They wear different things. And because they're younger, they wanted a bag that would work for them. That was also big enough to hold a cell phone, that could hold snacks and all those type of things. And so that's why we developed it. And we had somebody else ask,
What's the
"What's the difference?"
difference, yeah,
Yeah,
between this and a normal belt bag?
and in a lot of ways, a belt bag's a belt bag.
Yeah.
There's only so many things that you can do about it. You can go to Lululemon, buy their belt bag, and there's not going to be a major difference between theirs and ours, except for one major key point. When we designed it, we put slits in the back. There's a separate pocket in the back of the bag with two small slips. So if you have a tubed insulin pump, you can put the pump in there and run it through.
Yeah.
And that's what actually makes it different. And so we mass produce that overseas. There is no option of having it with holes or without. We just have one bag.
Mhm.
And that is why it is one price across the board. But for our other items right now that we are testing, because we are in a testing stage, we are making very few of these at a time. And actually, we're buying all the products at a small level. Then we are using our seamstress that we have to add the pockets in afterwards. So that so-called $10 is actually going to pay for our seamstress
Mhm.
to do it. We're not trying to make money off of this. We wish it was all the same price, but that is why we are charging more. And that $10 goes to pay for her to put the holes in there. And as we get our feedback, we're going to start producing the things that we feel like were a big hit and actually solve the problem. We will then mass produce those from the beginning, from the factory. And at that point, it will be cheaper and there will be no $10 upcharge.
And I think something else to bring up or to hone in on is with the difference between the belt bag. So, like you mentioned, you brought up a good point. You could go to Lululemon and get their black belt bag that almost everyone has, and it looks almost identical to the one that we made. I don't have type 1 diabetes, like I've mentioned. I wear the Resilient belt bag every day, like every day, because it also has different like compartments within the bag that can kind of, I could put low snacks on one side of it. I could put like my lipstick and keys on the other side of it and kind of have like my cell phone in the middle. So I like it just for that kind of being able to like separate like a diabetic snack that if I need to get it right away, I don't have to dig through my purse and get it. Like it's right there in that pocket. I know it's there. I'm going to pop it out. I'm going to take it out. Um, but then also, I think another thing to bring up is not only did we create that resilient belt bag for the type 1 diabetic with the slits in the back of it, but also every time you make a purchase from us, a percentage of our sales goes back to Touch by Type 1. So that is the major difference between a Lululemon bag and a bag from Palmr that you buy. So if type 1 diabetes is important to you, or you know somebody with type 1 diabetes and you want to support the cause, that is the main difference between our garments, what we sell, versus any other bigger retailer out there.
With that, we have gotten a lot of questions about us giving back, including this great one right here. He not only left a comment on one of our posts,
Mhm.
he actually also sent us a direct message, and we did send him a message back. We do like to respond to everybody in kindness.
Can I just say one thing?
Y-
That when there's a comment or a DM or anything, it's one of us responding. Like,
Yes.
we are very much in the beginning stages. We don't have a team. Like, you're looking at the team of Palmer, and usually it's me responding back. These like comments of like, we're so far fetched, this company is so far fetched, they're not, they don't really care about type 1 diabetes. They're giving back such a small percentage back to it. Why aren't they giving back some of their sales to a bigger type 1 organization like JDRF, for example, which was formerly JDRF, now currently Breakthrough? But I mean, those are all logical questions and I get it. But then also, what I would like to say is, and I think like that's the whole point of us growing this community of type 1 diabetic warriors and caregivers, is that it's me and Nick right now. So it's very much of the small business, like we are it. Just wanted to put that out there that it's usually me responding back to you when you leave a comment and a DM
Mhm.
as well.
So, what I would like to do is actually break down some of these comments on the money that we're making and everything else and what we give back to.
Yeah, I think you really need to go into the math equation this person actually provided to us
Yes.
to show us how much we are not making a difference.
Yes. So, Rebecca, will you please let us know how much money did you personally make this year, or I guess last year, or just say so far with Palmer in total? How much money have you put into your pocket from Palmer?
$0.
$0. And that goes the same for me. We are not profitable. We lost money. We knew we were going to lose money. We're not doing this to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to make a profit? Of course we
Of
do.
course, but we have enough faith in what we are doing. We believe in Palmer. We believe in our mission. That in building a community around us was step one for us. We knew we were going to be at a loss, especially year one. You could predict that, right? Yes, when we get pretty passionate about these math equations, which have us making like, what was it, $50,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that'd be great. I'd love that, but that's not happening.
Yes. And so with this one person, he says we're just giving back the minimum of 1%. And they also believe we're doing 1% of our profits. Well, the reason we do not give back from our profits is because there is no profits. We knew there was not going to be profits for a long time. And so what we wanted to do is give 1% off the top.
Yeah.
That was it. No matter what. If we make money, we lose money, we are going to give back 1% guarantee off the top.
Mhm.
Now, is it always going to be 1%? Probably not. That is not our goal. Our mission is around T1D. We're committing to 1% right now. We just gave back more during the holidays because we're passionate about this.
Well, it
And
started for Diabetes Awareness Month,
yes,
so we started it in November.
but our goal is to make as much money and put it into helping this disease.
Yeah, so it's to grow that percentage. That's
Yes.
our main goal. One of our main goals is to keep growing that percentage.
Yeah.
And I can say personally, when we sent our first check in to Touch by Type 1 for like, it was not a lot, it was like
Was it-
our first month of business, but it felt so good
Yes.
to be able to be like, wow, this is exactly why we're doing this. And like, I'm proud of us that within the first few months of us launching our full brand, we have something to give back to them.
And so, for all those people, this is why we're doing things. We're in this for the long run. And for a company to survive, to make an impact, it does need to make money at some point and make a profit. And so, we do not put any money into our pockets because we're putting 100% of what we make after we give back into the business to help it grow.
Yeah.
Because we know that 1% of, let's just say, $20,000 is not that much money at the end of the day. We know that, right? But if we can get to a point where we're making hundreds of thousands, millions, all that, then it can really make a difference. And that is really our goal. And as we've said before, as we become more profitable, that will go up.
Mhm.
But it was important to us that we can start giving back immediately
Mhm.
from the beginning.
Yeah. And then also, I think we should bring up that we have two t-shirts. So this kind of hones back into that comment of are we just another expensive t-shirt company? No.
I
But
get really passionate about this one. I'll let you
this
hit
is the
first.
t-shirt guy over here. So he's super passionate about this one. I feel like just calling our shirts a t-shirt is just really not giving them justice because they are the softest t-shirts I have ever owned in my life. And two of them, both of the Touch by Type 1 Diabetes shirts in the black and in the white, go back 100% of the sales go back to Touch by Type 1. So
Yes.
that's 100% of that goes back to Touch by Type 1. We did that in like on purpose for them. And then another comment this actually reminded me, I was talking about it. One of the comments that we got too was, what are they even doing? It's not even, none of this stuff is even the blue color of Type 1. The reason why we have two different option shirts for the Touch by Type 1, one in white and one in purple, black and purple, is because Touch by Type 1, their colors are black and purple. So we did that shirt just for them. And then our white shirt is white and blue, which blue is the diabetes color. Just kind of wanted to clear that one up as well.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. We know the type 1 diabetes colors. We love the blue, but then we also support Touch by Type 1 with their black and purple, which we think it's cool. They're kind of out there. We like it.
Before I get into the expensive t-shirt part, because we are going to discuss these expensive t-shirts, this one comment that I'm going to put up on the screen here, we got because we had somebody reach out to us because they were doing an event to raise money for type 1 diabetes stuff. And we have partnered up with multiple events with Touch by Type 1,
Mm-hmm.
with Breakthrough T1D, with these other events, and have donated product, gift cards, all these type of things as well.
Yeah.
So, well, this might not be going to a research facility directly. We are doing other things to help other companies in this space grow and do things. And we got this amazing comment back because we sent a bunch of stuff to this one group of people and
And this was out of state too. They
out of
found
state.
us
Yeah.
on Instagram. They messaged us. We messaged them right back. They were holding an event that they do yearly to raise awareness and
Mhm.
money for type 1. We loved it. And like
Yeah.
immediately felt like we had known her forever. And of
Mhm.
course, we donated to her event.
Yeah. And from based on what she said, they raised $25,000 from that event.
Yeah.
And while that didn't come from us directly, the fact that we got to be a part of that and the response we got really made me feel good about all of this and what we do. And so, yes, it's not just about our 1%. There's a lot of other things that we are doing to give back.
Do you want to touch on your expensive
Oh, I would
t-shirts?
love to touch on the expensive t-shirts. So you're going to have me go on a rant. You may or may not know, I've been in the merchandising world for over 20 years. I know t-shirts. I own a merchandising company. So, and again, this is not to belittle, trash any other company out there. There's a lot of companies out there making t-shirts for type 1 diabetics. And when I say for type 1 diabetics, most of the time it has a cheesy saying on it. Personally, that's not for me. It's not what I'm into. But there's obviously a marketplace. And you know what? Great for them. I don't know anything about these businesses. Is it for raising money or whatever? If it's, again, for raising anything, 100%, we're going to support them and cheer them on, right? We hope there's other companies trying to do what we do and raise money at the end of the day, because that's what it's all about.
Mhm.
But most of those businesses that are selling t-shirts around type 1 diabetes are using something called print on demand. And what that means to the average person is you work with a company that when an order comes in, they pull a shirt off the shelf and they print on it right away using a method called direct to garment printing.
Mhm.
It is a low quality print. Typically, the shirts you're getting are on the cheaper, more affordable side of
Mhm.
things. And the profits that the company is actually making is on the smaller side because they're producing them one at a time. All right. What we do is we're mass producing everything. I own screen printing equipment. We print everything in house, but we are producing these at hundreds at a time
Mhm.
with screen printing using the best fabrics, using the best inks and technology for everything.
Yeah.
So when we sell our t-shirts for $35, these are t-shirts that probably should, in all reality, be sold for more because the quality that you're getting with us is outstanding. We are picking the best materials for everything. This is why when you have one of our t-shirts, you will fall in love with it
Mhm.
because we want people to actually want to wear our products at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that brings up a good point is that when you're doing print on demand, you're just getting like a shirt that's already on the shelf and they're just going to go print on it. You're not really getting to choose the fabric and how it feels and everything. Like we go over and beyond. Like every garment, we test it out, Nick and I personally, and then or other people as well in our families to really test out the garment, wear it, live your daily life in it. How does it work? How does it feel on you when you're working, when you're lounging around the house? Like, no matter what you're doing, like, how does it feel and how does the garment make you feel? So, it's a lot more that goes into our t-shirts just than just picking an ordinary color of a shirt and just printing on it. We really take time and I think we're very confident in our t-shirts because I've yet to meet someone that buys our t-shirt and doesn't say, "OMG, it's the softest one. I want to sleep in it. I don't want to take it off."
Exactly. And I may or may not be wearing one of our brand new t-shirts
Yeah.
that is currently in R&D. We
Yeah.
just got these samples in and there's already changes. Like it's not going to be going directly into production yet. So sadly, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Because that's why we do the samples. There's things we want to tweak with the fabric, some of the sizing, everything because we are perfectionists and we want to do it right. So no, our t-shirts aren't some cheap print on demand option. These are the best quality shirts out there. And we want to make the type 1 diabetes world proud.
Yes. And then there's another comment that we got that was just it was 3 barfing emojis. Don't really know what that means. There was nothing else to the comment except 3 barfing emojis, and it was put on a reel of Nick and Parker wearing their matching father-son polos. So, obviously, they did not like it. It's not for them. Kinda made us chuckle with it.
So I think what we should do real quick, because there's definitely some other ones I want to jump into, but I would love to actually go through some of the positive ones. And
Okay.
let's turn this around. Let's do some fun, and then we'll go back to some of these negative ones that There's one that's actually currently happening right now that is hilarious that I want to get to. So, but
Okay.
let's chat about some of these like really positive ones that
Yeah,
we've had.
so we actually got one last night, and I was super excited and pumped for this one. So it said, as a type 1 since age 12, now 30, I love this. The beach has always been my escape too. Just bought a shirt to show my support and hope you guys kill it. So, such a simple message, but means so much to us. And we responded back, letting him know how much that meant to us. And not only is he a T1D warrior, but him simply saying the beach has always been my escape too meant so much to us because that's our kids' escape. That's like really where the whole resort wear comes from. That's why swimwear and everything and the bright colors. And that made me super pumped to hear that
Mm.
from him. So much so that we added each other on Instagram and I kind of like saw what his style is and we added a little goodie to his package. So I'm excited for him to get it.
So what you're saying is, if you are send us nice, encouraging comments, we are more likely to do some additional things for people.
Just saying.
Just saying. Hmm.
I'm a softie
Yeah.
sometimes.
So here's another great one that we had. That we got from somebody that is here in Orlando that's connected with some family members of ours.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm a T1D and I can't begin to describe how difficult it is to find clothing that works with my insulin pump. I'm almost in tears ordering the dress from your site. All my pants and shorts have little cuts in the pockets to feed my pump tubing through. Thank you for keeping T1D at the forefront of your efforts. Can't wait to see more clothing.
Yes. This one was super touching because I ended up being connected to her and then we continue having conversations with them and her kids are friends with my nephews. So it was super encouraging. And then it was funny because at the beginning when she found us, she didn't even find us from that connection of like through my sister and through my nephews. She solely found us because we were a T1D company. So it's super cool. I love that one.
And then we've just made some amazing, just like to us, this is all about community.
Yeah.
And we have made some amazing just relationships and meeting people and connecting. Like if you send us a DM, as Rebecca said, we're the ones responding.
Mhm.
We are going to respond back and we want to hear about your life, what's going on, because that's what this is really about. And this one that you sent me was so funny to me. There's this sweet little girl named Paisley that we met her mom
Mhm.
and she got a bag and all these things. And her mom sent us a message saying, Paisley just told me she is worried about the people who sent her the Palmer bag because they live in Florida and there's a hurricane.
Yes. So sweet. We were getting people checking up on us during the hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, I'm very much a softie, and I think I've explained to you all before that I get so involved in these DMs that we start having conversations like we've known each other forever. And I really think that's the whole part or the whole point of why we're doing what we're doing with Palmer and building this community on social media and especially on this YouTube channel because this is what we really want our mission to be around because type 1 diabetes can feel so isolating and so overwhelming. So just having a safe place to go to and just vent, ask questions, get advice, whatever the case may be, give advice. That's what we're here for. And we love to see these connections that we've been making.
And one of the other things that really make me feel good is we've had people like this comment who left a comment on one of our posts about says my son was just diagnosed with it and he just turned 3. He almost died as well. And it's so scary to think about it. This all just happened in the last 3 weeks. It's been a lot. I love this that you're trying to make a difference with this.
Hmm.
And while that is an amazing comment, what actually made me even happier is all the responses she got from other people.
Yes.
Like, not even just us responding,
Hmm.
other random strangers who are responding, encouraging her, like doing the support, giving advice, all those type of things. And it just felt so good that this was happening through our feed.
Yeah. And I think, like, even for you, because you went through this whole
Mhm.
journey with the kids, because I wasn't in your life yet. But we got another comment that said, "Love this. Have a 5-year-old diabetic daughter diagnosed at 23 months and DKA. Had I not listened to my mom gut and not the doctor saying it's just a virus, she would have passed away." And it's like, these stories are so personal and like, yes, you hear them, but you actually like really can't explain them unless you've gone through them. And they're so traumatic and it's such like a big moment in your life. And being able, like, I love that she feels free enough to respond to one of our posts and say that and share that she also had a similar experience like with that you had with Parker.
Yeah, definitely. And there's just so more. We're gonna put a few more of these comments on the screen, but this is just the iceberg of what we get. And it is so sweet. We got one from a mom that's actually works at Breakthrough T1D
Mhm.
and just saying some great things. It really just makes me so happy. Yeah.
No, we have another one that's like, "This is amazing. Love the bright, beautiful colors and designs. 1 year and 6 months strong. I was diagnosed at 20 years old."
Wow.
And, you know, I've said this to you before, Nick. I was like, I don't know what's worse, what's better,
Mhm.
getting diagnosed as a little kid or getting diagnosed as an adult. Because you go through your whole life, like, eating a certain way and living your life a certain way, and then, like, bam, it changes. I mean, I don't think either way, any way is the good way or the bad way. It's just the way that your journey is planned for. This is a story I wanted to share of how interesting the world is and how everything just is meant to be. I shared in a previous episode that I went for a coaching certification in Charleston, and they sat as we were in a tables of 5. The lady next to me, we were talking to each other when I first got there. She was telling me about the program because she had already graduated from the program a few years ago, so she was there as a coach, and I was just kinda telling her about my story, and then I brought up Palmr, my clothing brand, and I said our mission is behind type 1 diabetes, and she's like, "My son has type 1 diabetes." And my mind was just blown that out of this entire room of 50 plus ladies, I'm sitting next to a T1D mom. Like, what are the chances?
Yes.
And then her son got diagnosed later on in life as I think he was an adult, I think he was 18, and just how much it's, like, rocked him, like, mentally, like, he's to the point yet where he's not freely, like, accepting of it, which is so sad, and I can totally relate to that because it's, like, it's just so much to take on. But, yeah, I was like, "Oh, like, let me know, like, check out our website and let me know, like, something that he would like, that we could send it to him to bring a smile on his face." And she was like, "Yeah, he just doesn't really wanna bring attention to that he has it." But then the next day at the event, she goes back and she's like, "OMG, I was on your website all night long. I love your website. Colors are so fun. Everything is so fun." Like, you kind of forget that, it's about type 1 diabetes or someone has type 1. And I'm like, exactly. Like, that's what we really want. No, we're embracing that we have it, but it's also like these fun colors and these bathing suits and stuff like that. It makes you feel like, all right, I'm escaping what it means to have type 1 diabetes and I'm living my best life.
Awesome. So I think the time has come. Are you ready to talk about Icy Gate?
OMG, this icy that AK is my prop for this reel that I did of Evie. You take it on because
Yeah. So Touched by Type 1 hosted an event last year where they rented out the skating rink and a bunch of kids with type 1 diabetes got to come in and skate and connect and families got to talk. And it was a great event. So we were there
and you could bring
represent.
family members,
Yep.
and so we brought my 2 nephews that don't have type 1 diabetes to the event, so they could all go rollerblading. It
Yeah.
was super fun.
We did a reel
Mhm.
just for our Instagram about the event. And we ended up people just loved it so much that we actually turned it into an ad.
Yeah.
And in the reel, there's a part with Evie, my daughter, who is so excited because she's
She
having the time of her life
she's
and she's
dancing
dancing and she has an icy in her hand.
in her hand.
And I guess for this one lady, I don't know what her problem is exactly, but she thinks It is a problem for a diabetic to, one, have an IC. And why are we using it as a prop in our video?
And it's so dumb.
And it's so dumb,
Why would
right?
we do that?
So with that, I mean, there's so many directions that we can go with it. And first off, let's just say that, one, kids need to be kids, and that includes allowing them at times to have things that they don't get to always have.
Yeah.
Just because they're a type 1 diabetic doesn't mean they can't have an icy or ice cream or candy.
Well, where my mind directly went with this comment when we first got it is like, obviously, she doesn't know the difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Like, yes, type 2 diabetes, you shouldn't probably be having an IC, right?
Yeah.
And that's from years of, not making the best decisions when it comes to your health and your food choices and all of that. Totally understand that. But type 1 diabetes, mind you, Evie, if you see this reel of her, she probably weighs like, what, 40 pounds wet? Like, she's so skinny. Both our kids are so skinny. And actually, they're like what is it? They're like smaller for their
Yes.
bodies are actually smaller than what their ages are, which is something that we're going to have to deal with in the future if it doesn't get better. But yeah, there's no anything of fat on Evie. Let's just say that. So that's where my mind went. And when we first got this, so what we kind of like to do is whenever we like see a comment come across like our phone, whoever gets it first or sees it first, they screenshot it to the other person. And they screenshot this and I'm like, I don't want to like be that mean, but like I feel like you're kind of mean to me. So her profile picture was like startling and scary, and obviously we're gonna blur all this out, but it was like a scary profile picture of like a clown carrying a knife, and I'm like, what is happening here? And it wasn't even Halloween. Yeah, so I was a little startled when I came across the comment, but then I didn't even have time to type in my response when all of a sudden my phone is blowing up because all these amazing T1D mamas out there came out and were sure to educate her on this comment and that she should be having an icy. And for all you know, it was the icy probably saved her life because it was a low snack that she needed to get her sugar up, and it was amazing, and Nick and I were, like, so taken aback. We're like, "OMG," like, we didn't respond for, like, hours because there were so many comments coming in on it of, like, everyone, like, educating her, like, what type 1 diabetes means. There, just because she has type 1 does not mean that she should live differently than any other kid. Would you make your kid not have, an IC if they ask for an IC? Which was amazing. Is so true because in this situation, for example, ideally, do we really want to give them an icy? It depends on what time of the day it is. So we have learned the hard way of giving desserts or ices or these types of treats after dinner time or around dinner time. You're not going to have a good night.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have these delayed highs with them. You're probably going to be awake a lot more than you want to be. We have made a pact between us, and it's like, if it's before lunchtime or a little after lunchtime, we'll do it freely. We'll have fun. We'll let them live. This was a little, I think, later on in the day. But again, my two nephews, like I mentioned, were there. They don't have type 1 diabetes. And thankfully, they've gotten a lot better with having Parker and Evie in their lives without always asking for a sweet every time they have anything to eat. But all the kids wanted an icy. They saw there was an icy. Everybody was like holding them. They all wanted it. So could you imagine us being the Parker and Evie? No, sorry, you can't have it. We're only gonna get it for these two. You guys can't have it because you have type 1 diabetes.
Yeah. And one major point that you brought up in a lot of the comments were, because we were at a skating rink and the kids are having the time of their lives, they are skating, they are burning off a lot of energy.
Yes.
And so not just our kids, but a lot of people were going low during the event. And so an icy was great to help get them up.
Almost everyone
And
in that ice skating rink had an icy.
I was talking to one of the girls from Touched by Type 1 that helps out, that we've got to know, and she was over getting something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, she was trying to get, like, a Gatorade or
Yeah,
something.
she's like, "I can't keep myself up right now."
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I do, I keep just tanking.
Because you're burning so much as you're skating, as you're being active. So that makes your sugar go down. And that's another thing that I don't think like people really realize. Like, and we've talked about it before here in different episodes. Like when the kids are swimming, about every 30 minutes, we got to get the kids out of the pool to let their equipment sink back up so that we know what their levels are because they're so active with swimming you could easily go low and have no idea, like, that you're this low.
Mm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. I think it would be good to kinda highlight the difference between being low and the difference between being high. Like, what happens when you go low?
Yeah, so when you go low, and while both are bad, low is actually worse than being high, right?
So I think
Because
low is bad right for the
is immediate
immediate,
is immediate
and then
because
high is bad overall, like, in the
yeah,
future.
if you go so low, your body can go into shock and go. We had people go into comas, you have seizures, you pass out, all those type of things.
Mhm.
So it's something that you have to take serious when they go low, and so you're always having to keep a really close eye on it. Where if you are high, the high is not going to do something to you right now, but if you are high for too long, that's when the damage kind of happens.
And that's, like, damages to your organs,
Yeah.
to your eyesight, everything like that,
Yeah.
kind of. And kinda to explain it is, like, when you think or when you hear of a story of someone getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, when they went to the hospital, their sugar level was at 1,200, let's say, for example, when, like, 100 is normal. They were okay, they weren't feeling good, but they had been that high for that long that their body was starting to break down now at that point. And that's when people say we were almost at DKA because if they would have let it go on to have their sugar so high, then yes, they would have passed because of that.
So let's move on from Icygate. And there's a few more I think we can touch on before we
Oh, I have
call
one.
it.
I have one. This one might be my favorite.
Oh,
Okay. I have T1D and the Lord can cure it. It's my foolish trust in doctors that we share. Who cares? Your kids aren't any better than anyone else. The only worrier anyone should be is for Jesus. It's an easy thing to live with. I literally do no thinking, and my A1C is 4.7, so it's quite easy.
wow. Good for them. Um,
One, if you know anything about our brand, we have a lot of faith and talk about our faith and talk about like the reason why we're here is because we have faith in all of it. Because, mind you, when you are a blended family and you have split custody and you have two kids with type 1 diabetes, the only thing you have is faith because you can't control things when you don't have the kids. You have to have faith. If not, you would just literally go insane. So yes, I am very happy for them that their A1C is so good and that it's very easy for them. It's not easy for everyone else. Some people may have it easy and then obviously like the kids are going to come to a stage in their life that they're going to be able to handle it like on their own. It's just right now where we are at with their ages, we take on basically both of their lives are on us 24/7. Both of their lives because they both have it. Not quite sure. And then like the reel that they commented that on was like such a random reel.
mhm.
So I'm not quite sure.
Then we have a lot of people who are also thinking that, why is there even a market
Yeah.
for the need of having a diabetic products, which also make things very interesting. So this one gentleman says, yet nobody questions why so many kids are diabetic and that there's actually a market for this. Dot dot dot.
Yes. I'd put that, like, up where, like, all the conversations with the drones are right now.
Mm-hmm.
drones falling from the sky. But yeah, then there was another one that said, diagnosed when I was 4. I'm now 52. I like what you're doing, but diabetes is a cash cow. They'll never find a cure. And I respect your opinion. I respect your stance in it. But for us, we have to keep the faith for our 2 kids that know nothing else than living a life with type 1 diabetes. If we don't have the faith, who does? Are they going to have it? Because they're going to live their life based on how we raise them and what they see with us and how we handle the diabetes and how we talk about the diabetes. Like, I can't imagine going to Evie and being like, it's a cash cow. Like, you're probably never gonna find a cure. There probably already is a cure, but you're just never gonna see anything like that. I'm not gonna do that to an 8-year-old girl. I'm just not gonna.
We have to be advocates and encouraging and have the faith and hope that, yes, there will be a cure one day. And I do fully believe, from everybody I've talked to who are very close to the researchers, there's some very fascinating things happening right now. What a cure is going to look like, we don't know. But there's some great things, especially from my understanding, the preventative
Yeah,
standpoints. Like, if you
huge.
can catch it before your basically pancreas dies on you, they can cure it in that way, right?
Yeah,
The more challenge is going to be from the people who has already had that happen, but they're making amazing breakthroughs all the time. And yes, we are going to have faith and hope for our children.
yeah. Even the education that's out there, like we've talked about this before, but when you were thinking about having a second kid and the conversations you were having with your doctor then, of them literally being like, oh, there's literally less than 1% chance if you have another kid, that kid will have type 1 diabetes. Like, now we found out, no, actually, if you have a child with type 1 diabetes and you have other kids and they have siblings, those siblings are at higher risk of getting type 1 diabetes or having it than if their mother had type 1 diabetes, which was mind blowing for me. One other one that I feel like we do get pretty often is about sizes of our clothing. I love this. Some of us are plus sizes. Please make extended sizes. Love that comment. And I responded back to it. That is totally what we are in the works of doing right now with all the production, the R&D that we're doing for the pockets and making sure that it's diabetic friendly. We are also doing garments where we can have multiple sizes of it right now. Like right now we're kind of like restricted of kind of like the small, medium, large on some of the garments that we buy that are already made. So yes, our goal is to create sizes for everyone. I know I have many women too that reach out to me and they're like, "Oh, I need an extra small, like the small is too big." And vice versa. And I get it. I'm there with you. I want more sizes as well. And we are working on it. And we're excited about that.
Yes, it's just sadly, it is more expensive. But it is something that we want to do because we want to be the company for everyone. Wow. Is there any other one that you would like to touch on before we end this?
Yes, I want to end it on a happy note and a good note. Just want to say, I love all of you guys. Like, the comments are great. Like, yes, there's some comments out there that I kind of just make me roll my eyes. Like, what is happening? I think you have something better to do with your time. That's just me. Not quite sure. I'm not in your life. But so much support that we have. Like, we are here today because of all the support that we are getting. And we are wrapping up our first year of being in business. August of 2025 will be first year of main launch of all of our products. But I am so grateful that we are here and we are doing this and we have this platform to be able to have these conversations. And I just really wanted with this episode to remind everyone it's us. Like, there's a human behind the brand, right? There's actually a whole family behind the brand because it's actually me, Nick, and our 2 kids with type 1. But you're talking to us. Like, we are not a cash cow. We are literally trying to grow and have a lot of faith in this mission on why we're here. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all the support that we have gotten. And again, like I've mentioned, I become like your bestie through the DMs if you DM me. And I just have loved getting to know these moms and then getting to know like other young girls that are around Evie's age. And then they like start building their own relationship and they start sending videos back and forth to each other of like, hey, I'm wearing my Brazilian belt bag to school today. Like, oh, Evie's like, oh, I wore mine too today. So that's what really I love, because not only are we building this community of supporters, but so are our kids too.
Yes.
And that's huge.
Definitely. And this is something that we will most likely do again. We love just screenshotting the good and the bad. And so we don't know how often, but at least once a year, we will probably be doing another episode like this, because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much for tuning in. All these things, continue to leave us comments, the good, the bad, and please connect with us. We love talking to you.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye, Palmr fam.
Bye.